Everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. In this one, Wolverine's release date. Got it coming to you if you haven't figured it out by now. We're also going to look at some potential builds of his. I think that it might be pretty clear based on what we've already got, so we'll look at that. We can get into that more as he kind of comes about, but I think it's going to be something you're going to definitely want to get into if you're leaning into this character right away, which I definitely want to. I think he's going to be great. They've nailed the last couple characters. If you're new to the channel, check out Discord, link description below. Hammer down like buttons for the algorithm if you want. Let's check it out.
Bring me WolverThor!
Okay, so how do I know the Wolverine release date? Because I'm magical. Or because I think that we've finally got something that seems a little bit more clear at this point. Now, so a lot of times you can figure out from in-game, and I'll show you this real quick. In-game, you've got stuff that, let's see here. You in the store, or not the, I'm sorry, you go to the store and certain events are offers, bundles, perks. You see, let's see, maybe in the featured. Sometimes you'll see dates here for some of these that aren't the monthly. They don't have any really good ones in here right now because we don't really have any. But or you go to these events, which, you know, 2 days, 8 hours left. I didn't think they were gonna wait till the end of the Valkyrie one, but maybe they are. So it appears that it lines up directly with that, which is okay, cool. From that, you know, we go back to this sheet. Now, because we know that the Valkyrie, at first when the Valkyrie event was there, I was like, oh, that's not gonna matter. You know, the other one that was ending, which I think was the Mighty Thor, you know, maybe we get something then, but we obviously didn't. So everybody's like, hey, this is taking forever. So now we've got these push rewards. You probably noticed in game that you're getting these push rewards happening that are going to last until the 16th, which right as I shoot this video, it's the 14th. When I publish it, it'll be the 15th. And so my thought is it's going to be Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, the update. So this event lasts through the 16th. So as the 16th finishes, then the update drops on the 17th. I fully expect that's when it's going to happen. As you look at this, there's not a lot happening here. It just says 8:16 till midnight or the minute before. We're getting all these different things that are popping up that you've probably noticed as well. And it's, I think they even call it, what do they call it? It's like a Wolverine countdown push event. So to me, it's clear as day. Wolverine is coming on the 17th. That is his release date. You are going to be able to play him in-game on the 17th once the game is back up and running. Yay, right? Super stoked. You got a bunch of loves here with the 99. That's probably people who I understand that these push events are what you kind of get from, or that typically that kind of rolls over into that. A couple little angry guys, but generally speaking, everybody's pretty happy about it, which is awesome. I'm stoked about it. You know, Wolverine coming, but the 17th, shoot for that. We talked about, you know, his specific build, which we'll jump into is 2. I was going to go into the general chat to see if anybody was talking about this, but it's all about Justice for Storm, which is kind of an interesting thing. If you haven't seen it, there's a lot of Storm players out there who are sort of upset, and by sort of, that's an understatement, about the nerf that's coming in. You even see in here, nerf Storm, buff Iron Man. They're on a mission right now. They are on a mission for Storm. We'll see how that shakes out. Anyway, that's what I got for that part. So I want to go back and I'm going to pull up the Wolverine dev note so that you guys can see specifically. I don't know if they put this in notices or what. I'm going to go find this and I'll show you the skill stuff that I'm talking about. All right, there we go. So dev notes, dev note 13. So you guys always say this. I did a video on this. Yay. Rah. So build-wise for Wolverine, now look, this is all speculative, or is it? Do I know, or is it speculative? You decide. So when you look at these, you know, you've got Swift Strike, Adamantium Claws, Ultimate Weapon. Swift Strike, it helps restricts movements and gives debuffs. Adamantium Claws, it applies buffs to self and allies and decreases the enemy's defense and stack effects. And then you've got the ultimate weapon, which is fast attack speed and consistently track somebody. So imagine stalking, hunting, as a Weapon X type entity that the Wolverine is he's gonna go and want to limit somebody, debuff them, and then just tear them apart. Now, so I think ultimately, if you want to sum it up in that, I think that's how it's gonna go. I think that I think it's going to be along those lines where you're literally just looking to maybe throw a swift strike restriction on them. You're going to want to hit them with a rupture type ability where they're decreasing their defense. And then you're going to go ahead and just shred them to pieces with, I guess if that's 2 abilities, then you want to use your next 3 is to shred them apart. Now, the challenge in that is going to be, well, what if your debuffs or restrictions don't land? What if you're blinded? What if they dodged and you got to wait for the cooldown to come back? So, that's really a sort of like, you better land that stuff. You better get it in. You better make sure that stuff lasts. So it's like, well, I want to get maybe 2 restriction abilities. So in case the first one misses, maybe the second one hits. Ideally, if the first one lands, then maybe you move on to your rotation. So those will be your 3 steps as Wolverine to try to take somebody down. I see this as more of like a dimension duel type thing, but I could see it a little bit in Omega War as well. But I don't know if I'd want to be just sort of a single target killer as Wolverine. I'm very interested to see how he's going to be in an AoE type situation. I could see him as sort of kind of like a dash that jumps around where he's just like going from person to person to like a spinning sort of thing where he's like just got his blades out and slicing everybody up. But I don't know how much of an AoE type guy he's going to be. So I think I'll probably personally, assuming it goes this way, is lean into this, restrict their movement, give them the debuffs and also the defense down so that you can hit them harder and then hit them harder so that you're basically taking them out. Now, another thing to think about here is, in this description up here, they had talked about it. Let's see. His ultimate skill activates a strong recovery effect. Now, you could really lean into an alt gauge here, depending how strong this is. If it's something that he just won't die, or like at a certain point and you get your ult and he gets 50+% of his HP back, and you can get that alt gauge going real quickly, there might be an alt gauge build with this guy where it's just like, you know what? I just want my alt gauge up every 10 to 15 seconds or 20 seconds because I know that you can't kill me in that time. And even if you get close, I'll pop my ult and I'll be back at, whatever percentage. I think that could be really cool. Now, the downside to that's going to potentially be you might not hit somebody hard, but they can't kill you. Eventually, your healing is going to overtake whatever it is that you're doing to them. So, or whatever that it is that they're doing to you, rather. So those are a couple of things we looked at. The other part is you could lean into this swift strike where you're really reducing the enemy's movement. And I think that's probably likely going to be maybe a support build for Wolverine. Say, for instance, maybe his damage isn't as high as we'd like, but he's a super great support character. We'll see what squad battles is like, if that's something we really care about that much. And maybe you'll need him in position for all of the different battles, and you'll want the fact that he can limit people's movement. I don't know. Frankly, if I'm going to play Wolverine, though, that's disappointing to me. I would not actually want to play that way. As Wolverine, I want to play in there and go bonkers. I want to go nuts on people. I want to take a bunch of hits. I want to heal. I want to be hitting people hard. I want to be raging just on everybody. So I don't really love that idea, but just in the sense of like there might be multiple builds out there, I want to mention that one. And then the other part is leaning into adamantium claws and rupture is also another support type option where you're, maybe decreasing the enemy's defense and stacking debuffs. But again, Scarlet Witch has some of that. Maybe you could do that and then just have 1 to 2 attack abilities that if you land them. And that's probably the route you might want to go is, slow somebody up, throw a bunch of debuffs on them and have 2 abilities that are going to definitely hit for a lot. That's probably the route that I'd lean in the most if it's not the step 1, 2, 3. And then additionally, if you do that and you have, let's say it's all adamantium claws and then all ultimate weapon, maybe you just know you're going to get your ultimate weapon as your gear of choice. So, and that's honestly, as I'm looking at these, the stuff that I'm already thinking about building as far as my gear, it's going to be leaning more than likely into ultimate weapon because you got to do damage. And PvP wise, I wouldn't be surprised if Netmarble tries to encourage either Swift Strike or Adamantium Claws, which, okay, I get to an extent, but honestly, if they don't really do damage or high levels of damage, I'm kind of like, I want my, even if they don't even if they had high levels of damage, but it's not what you're using to do the main damage, or they're hard to land, what you're going to want to do is the stuff that you want to actually kill your opponent, lean into that gear, which I think is probably going to be ultimate weapon. But it's early. We'll see. Hopefully we'll start figuring out come, this Wednesday. Again, a word of wisdom to everybody. A lot of times when the new characters come out, everybody wants a build right away. It is borderline impossible to have that build within even the first several weeks of getting a new character in, okay? Because even if you wail out, you're gonna have your like top end guys and girls doing their darndest to get this guy built up as high as they can, but it still takes a ton of testing. And it takes a ton of testing against other Wolverines and a ton of testing against the top end people and other characters to figure it out. So it's gonna take time. Even if you're playing the same Doctor Strange 3 times in a row and you're smoking him, that Doctor Strange might need to figure out how to play Wolverine. If he figures it out, it's like, okay, maybe that build wasn't the greatest, but it was new, so somebody just didn't know what to do. So be patient with the builds, the final builds, the stuff that's going to come out. You're going to see them that go out there. It certainly can be something you explore, but given how expensive it is to dive into this game and get further along down a path with fodder, be hesitant. It's fine to do potential, maybe some specializations, some can't miss ones. But I will say that a lot of times that you're going to pump a lot of specializations in there and decide later like, oh, I don't really need that. So be careful. I can't wait. I'm super stoked. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love for you to come over to the Discord and talk about it over there as well. If you want to help out that YouTube algorithm and hammer down the like button, click notification bell, subscribe. We'll always appreciate that. And I appreciate you making this far. So until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.